I wanted to make a point that that these robberies can go, that they can go wrong, and then can go, very wrong very quickly. And it's not a charming type of bank robbery we're gonna watch. We're gonna watch what it looks like in real life, as it being dangerous, dirty, heavy, and full of mistakes. And I think I wanted the first scene to show that.
Um, Now, your main character Casper,
Uh,
after we see this robbery go really bad,
yeah.
um, um, a few scenes later, he's agreeing to participate again in a robbery with these people. What is it that really motivates? Is it the money? What's the motivation there?
I mean, he is not part of the first robbery, um, but I think he is interested in not letting a good, like it's like a journalist or a film director, or it's like you don't want to let a good story go, and he doesn't want to let a good score go either. But he doesn't want to do it. But I don't think you can deny the nature of his curiosity. And I think so. He's like, okay, I want to see if what you're saying is real, because it sounds too good to be true, but I don't want to be a part of it. But I don't. But so the idea was that he's kind of slowly but surely, in a way, lured into the dragon's mouth.
How this is based on a true story. How faithful to the actual events were you guys?
Very faithful. I mean, I think we actually had the real life Danish organizer as a big part of developing the script with us. Um, and when he saw the film, I remember him saying that from the moment the cars leave the farm to the moment where they return again after the heist, he was like, "That's 100% as I remember it, that it was." So it is quite faithful. I think all the action, all the characters' actions, all their preparation, it comes very close to what it was in real life. I think where we take our dramatic liberties, I think, are more with in terms of the characters. That the Casper character is very close to uh, that real guy, Stefan Anderson. Um, but the other characters are, you know, partly imagination and partly, multiple characters that have been, combined into one. Um, yeah.
What is it about heist movies that audiences really resonate with?
I mean, in my idea at least, I think always been always been very aware that conflict makes good drama. So I always tend to look for environments that has the potential for conflict, and the more conflict, the better in a way. And so I think that in itself makes crime very interesting to put on the big screen. I think the idea of big heists are interesting because they involve a lot of planning and discipline and know-how and technical skill, and then it also requires ice in your veins and some brute force. And I think that combination is very, very interesting, especially for bank robberies of this sort that we're portraying here. Um, I think it's always interesting to see people who break the rules, and I think it's always interesting to see people taking what they think are theirs instead of earning it. Because I think it's a tempting thought that everybody, I think, has in their mind. It's like, what if I just took it instead of going to back to my job every day? What if I just took the money and ran? What then would happen? And I think it, and I mean, a lot of us don't do it, but I think it's always interesting to see the guys that do, and especially if they get away with it. So I think that's maybe the long answer. There's a lot of reasons why I think, you know,
Uh,
heists do well in film.
you the person that you worked with, the actual person who did the heist, your consultant. What, having worked with him,
Mhm.
what is it that makes these people tick? That they go from the fantasy of doing something like this to actually going and doing this? What is
Yeah.
it? What is it that makes these people different? What is it that makes them tick?
Um, I think for his instance, at least, it was quite interesting because I would, when I met him quite early on, I asked him, why did you do it? And he said, because I could. I wanted to see if I could. And it was really not the response that I had anticipated, because I think we tend to think that they need money, or they need money for a higher purpose. They need money to buy, you know, an operation for their old sick mother, or they need whatever. But that wasn't really the case with any of these guys. They did it because it was too good to let go. And in Kasper's instance, or in Stefan's instance, the real Kasper, in his instance, it was a matter of not having any opportunities uh, to become somebody in life. And I know it sounds maybe banal, but he had at this point a very promising boxing career that had gone down the drain, and he didn't have anything else to fall back on. He didn't have a big education. He didn't have, he didn't have anything. This was the thing that could put him in the history books. This is what could make him important, that he would have been, then he had done something. And that was it for him. It was like so important to him to break the record. It was so important to him to be the guy who did it, because that would give him, in a way, a sense of mattering, I think, to him and to his family and to his friends and to the environment. And I think to me, that was something that I felt I could empathize with, that idea of wanting to be somebody. Maybe I couldn't sympathize with the way that he did it, but I could empathize with the train of thought in a way.
In your director's statement, you mentioned the organized crime scene in the Nordics.
Yeah.
How is it different than, say, the organized crime scene in Spain or wherever, France?
Oh,
What's
that's a
the
good
humor about
question.
it?
That's a good question. I think at that time, I think what was interesting around 2008 was that Denmark had never, seen heists in that size ever. So there is a scene where they sit down in front of the cash handling facility and they look at a video clip that shows them that exact, cash handler had put online, where it shows where they pack the money, where they, this is where we pack our dollars, this is where we pack our euros, which was completely as it was in real life. It was a super naive time in Denmark at the time. I don't think nobody expected, robberies of that sort ever to be able to hit us the way it did. It was a big thing in Sweden at that point, and I think it was like the loss of innocence for Danes, because we'd never experienced that before. So I think that makes it exciting in a Scandinavian context at least.